Stuart, what was your assessment of that?
Just complete frustration, Scott. I think we started the game better than what we did obviously last week. We get our noses in front, looks a certain penalty, and you want your team to grow on that, you want your team to build on that. I felt that at times in the first half we took ourselves into good positions, especially when we were 1-0 up there. We took ourselves into decent positions, select the wrong options, don't see us sustaining attacks, I don't see us spending enough time running about the final third of the opposition. A lot of that comes through decision making, a lot of that comes from composure. Feel like we're rushing to try and get passes away, feel like you're rushing to try and get crosses away, you're rushing to try and get strikes off and goal, and then ultimately you make the wrong decision. But I felt that there was serious opportunities from my vantage point today, in the first half especially, to go and really start to capitalise on some of the spaces and some of the positions we find ourselves in. And then second half, just frustrated really start to finish. Yeah, we're 1 up, yeah, we've got something to protect, but the message at half time is that we go on the front foot and we treat it as if it's a level game. We treat it as if we need to be the team that gets the next goal, because you gradually start to see us retreating, dropping off, and the one question I need to ask on that, is that a mental aspect, or does that start to become a physical aspect? We're trying to protect players constantly. We see how many injuries that we have at this point in time. We're trying to make sure that we go through all right measures, but ultimately that needs to get to that point on a Saturday when you're 1-0 up playing against St Johnstone, that you have that mental strength and you have that physical capacity, that output to be able to still play in the front foot, get yourself forward, drive forward and support attacks, go and punch out and make sure you press the opposition. But for me it just felt as if we started to tuck back into our shape, and it's not a finger pointing exercise, but ultimately that is what we need in the second half to try and take the game away from St Johnstone. If you don't, you get 4 minutes for the end of 90 minutes and they get opportunities to start slinging balls into your box, and that's 3 set plays ultimately we've conceded from in 2 weeks against them. 3 goals we've conceded was a corner here in the first half last week. The first goal they scored today, second phase from a corner, and then the winning goal for them ultimately is a touch front post, back post, and then they get to tap it in without being confronted by a Motherwell player. That's never going to give you a chance in the game of football. That's do or die stage at that point, especially when you're 1-1. Yeah, it's not what we came for. We tried to come and win the game, but you have to go and put your body in the line, and if you're allocated an opponent, you have to make sure that you're in that position where you're contesting the ball. Sometimes you might be out muscled, sometimes somebody springs above you, but you can't not be standing anywhere near your direct opponent when he puts the ball in the back of the net.
Against Hibernian a few weeks back, we conceded 2 goals in quick succession, similar to today. Going back to your last point, does that maybe incline more the mental aspect of the game?
Potentially, Scott, and again, these are the bits that we need to try and delve into. We need to start. We need to look at. I've just said it there in another interview that if I hadn't seen that mental capacity from them and I hadn't seen the physical output from them over periods of time, but for whatever reason, and hopefully you could become a rich person by getting the correct answer to that when it comes to football players. But we need to find that solution in moments of games of football. I labelled it as not starting games well over the last 3 games prior to today. We do that, and then it's a different section, a different chunk of the game that starts to cause us a problem. Today we're forced again to make 5 substitutions, yellow cards, feel you're running a risk there. I know we all turn around and say, well, players need to take responsibility and not get sent off. That's not really the way that the game works now sometimes, especially when you look at 2 combative players in Harry Payton and Tom Sparrow. We've got guys needing to come off physically, come off the pitch. We maybe could have done another 1 or 2 of them throughout the game. I'd love to get to a position where you actually just feel that tactically we're trying to adjust the team, tactically we're trying to make a couple of twists and changes, and we know the players that are sitting that aren't available to us, then they might give us different options, but today again I just feel like your substitutions are forced upon you. You're actually sitting waiting on them sometimes because you know that there's potentially 1 or 2 that still have to come off the pitch, and that's not really a position I want to be in, Scott, and that's something I need to try and rectify. That's something I need to try and get to, that we have every player that goes on that pitch with the purpose of playing 90 minutes, and then it becomes the manager and the coaching staff's decision as to whether you come off and how you come off and what situation you come off. But just now we feel as if we're on tender hooks waiting for that next knock, that next niggle, that next injury, which changes the narrative of the game.
Celtic next, it's a tough task, but is this when you need your leaders in the dressing room to really step forward?
Yeah, but that's where we come in today. We wanted our leaders to be there to allow us to stand strong today. We wanted to change overhaul the result for last week. Now, it'll not get us back in the cup, but we wanted to be in a position where we come out of here with 3 points today. That was the thought process. But we need our leaders in that last 5 or 6 minutes of normal time and get into 6 minutes of injury time. And again, I felt that the only urgency that starts to come in our team at that point is into the bit of injury time. Now, we didn't carve out a proper chance, but you start to see some sort of urgency. That's the urgency you need when you're 1-0 ahead, Scott. That's what I'm looking for. And be it an old player, a young player, whatever it is, I think we all have a responsibility to take part in that.
Thanks for your time, Stuart.
Thanks.